Apple says that they're a photography company. They just wrapped up their keynote for WWDC 2023. Let's take a look at what was announced, what it means for photographers, what's coming ahead that we don't yet know about, and how that makes me feel. So Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference is normally focused on software and platforms, and this year was no exception. We're going to talk here right now a little bit about the software changes they talked about, what it means for photography. We're going to talk about the updated Mac hardware that they talked about, and then we've got to talk just a little bit about the one more thing, the Vision Pro headset and the photography side of that. So if we look at the hardware and software that was announced, other than the headset, this is a year of evolution, not revolution. The updates to iOS, the updates to macOS, incremental changes, and the theme is new uses for photography with your Apple platforms. So let's take a look at iOS. With iOS, what we saw is a couple places where existing uses for photography get enhanced. One of the big stories last year with iOS 16 was the ability to tap and drag a photo out of an image because it used artificial intelligence to automatically separate that from the background. Well, this year they're going to let you turn those photos that you drag out into stickers that can be used in messages. And one of the other things they announced is that when iOS 17 releases in the fall, stickers will be able to be used system-wide. Anywhere that you can use an emoji, you're going to be able to use a sticker now. So, well, this has some kind of fun implications where you can make like reaction photos and things like that. I can see some other interesting applications, especially if we start talking about photos that maybe aren't just people, but photos of objects, places, scenes, activities. If you can pull the subjects out of those, turn those into stickers, that seems like that'll be fun. Another thing that was kind of interesting is they announced contact posters. So think of a contact poster as a custom ring screen. We used to have custom ringtones with our phones. Well, this is a custom ring screen so that when you get a phone call on your iPhone from someone, instead of just showing their avatar, they're going to be able to create an entirely custom contact screen that you will see. So that'll be kind of interesting. I've already seen some people on Mastodon talking about how hopefully this doesn't lead to unsolicited genitalia photos there. We'll have to see how that plays out. One of the other new interesting uses for photography with iOS is through a new app called Journal, which is a journaling application. But Apple's going to use information from your device on your device. This isn't stuff that's being shared anywhere, but it's going to use inspirations to provide you with suggestions on things you could put into your journal based on photography, locations, music, workouts that you've done. And I think this totally makes sense. Apple already has the memories features in the Photos app where it collects things together and kind of, understands what you've been up to and presents those in interesting ways. I think tying this into the new Journal app totally makes sense. So that's kind of the iOS software story. And these features are going to work with macOS as well. One of the things I will note, though, that did not happen in the keynote at all is we didn't hear about anything specifically AI related as far as photo editing or photo sharing goes. Now, given that they had so much to announce today, some of which we're going to talk about here, I also see where this may not have just fit into the keynote. And my expectation is that this week, in the coming few days, we're going to start hearing more about new photography features of iOS and macOS that are going to come out in the developer State of the Union address this afternoon, and that are going to come out in the WWDC sessions in the coming days. So there will be more. When it comes to the hardware, as far as what can we use to edit and work with our photography, Apple announced a couple interesting things. They announced a 15-inch MacBook Air. So if you're looking for a powerful M2 chip-based mobile device that's very small but has a decent-sized screen, that's now a good option. I don't see this as being a big heavy hitter in the photography world. I think photographers, like myself, I'm very happy with my MacBook Pro. I like having all of those ports. They announced a new Apple Studio computer with the M2 chip in it, and they announced the long-awaited Apple Silicon Mac Pro. Now, the Mac Pro is a crazy high-end computer. It starts at about $7,000 and goes up from there. Probably not something most photographers are going to do, but they do now have that high-end offering for the people that really want that much computer power. So we can't talk about this morning's Apple keynote announcements without talking about the one more thing, the Vision Pro headset. I've got one right here, or maybe not. Maybe that's not quite what it is, but it doesn't look that incredibly different from that. So the Vision Pro headset is Apple's long-expected AR, VR product. It is a headset. It's got amazing looking technology that's going to be better covered by people who are way into that world. I want to talk about just a couple things that struck me as a photographer. So one is that this headset gives you this big virtual display. One of the things Apple kept showing off is how you can use that headset to create these virtual 4K display screens for use with your computer. That's interesting. That's certainly going to be interesting for watching photography, viewing photography. One of the things they showed off is that if you have a panorama photo, it can essentially wrap around your head in the AR environment. And I think that's kind of a cool way to look at images. But I'm more excited about this as a platform. Like most platforms, the initial announcement is kind of step one, and then we wait to see what will get built. Depending on the market adoption, it will be interesting to see what photography applications end up becoming a thing in the virtual world. And so I'm eager to see how this goes. I'm eager to see who the leading voices in this space become. This is not an area I expect myself to dive deep into, but I'm sure there are going to be people that do that. And I'm going to look forward to connecting with them, working with them, and understanding what this means for photographers. So those were the key things that were announced today by Apple. Now, as a photographer, the iPhone announcements that happen in September usually represent the bigger camera and photography advances in the Apple world. I'm looking forward to covering that. But a couple things I want to let you know. So one is, if you want to make sure you get that ongoing coverage from me with what gets announced later this week, with my iPhone coverage, drop your email at the link down below. I send out a message once a week with what's new in the tech photo world, and you can be in the loop on that. Also, I want to hear from you. Drop me a comment down below and let me know, what did you think of Apple's announcements today? Were you disappointed in that there wasn't more photography software specific stuff? Are you excited about the Vision Pro headset? Are you going to go buy one when it comes out? Let me know what you think. I'm curious to hear, if you're happy about the things, if you're missing things. But either way, I'm excited to see Apple continue to bring new things out. I look forward to hearing what we're going to hear over the coming days as developers go through the sessions. And be sure to subscribe down below. I'm going to be back at you again with more tech photo stuff soon. And until then, take care.